Treva and Kevin Show, be inspired. That's what this show is all about.
Well, inspiration and motivation, they go hand in hand.
Hand in hand.
Now, some men are moved by
Okay.
inspiration.
I'm
Some
moved.
men are moved out of desperation. So what we want to do is inspire you.
That's
They'll
right.
stay tuned. We're going to share something good with you.
And you know, all throughout this show, we're going to talk about some memorable moments and also how did our theme song come to be?
Tell it.
And so we're going to talk about that. We're going to share some wonderful tips to encourage you today. And also, we've got some legal questions coming up. That's right, on the Treva and Kevin Show. So stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Be inspired and grow. Reach up higher. Joy in stereo. Come join the conversation. It's the Treva and Kevin Show.
All right, welcome back. It's our Be Inspired show, the Treva and Kevin Show.
Yes. You know, Treva, my whole life, I've tried to study inspiration.
Inspiration.
Because really what makes the difference in one great lawyer and a good lawyer,
Okay.
one is inspired. What makes the difference in a preacher? One good preacher or a great preacher?
Yes.
One who is inspired. And, you know, those who have that gift, they can share that inspiration and lift. So that's why they say a rising tide lifts all ships.
So name 3 people in life who have inspired you.
Well, one of the first
You
names
go
that come
first.
to my mind is Roger Freeman.
Okay.
He's pastor at the First Baptist Church, and we faced some challenges about building the largest church in Clarksville's history. I said, Pastor, he said, God told me to do it, and I knew when I heard him, and he knew when he heard the Lord. And we worked together. It was Henry Ford that said this. First, you got to get people together.
Okay.
Then you got to keep people
Keep
together.
them together.
Then you got to work people together.
I like that.
Then you'll have success.
Okay.
The second one would be John David Lyda. He was a former pastor at the First Baptist. It's interesting how these men were so many pastors.
Yeah.
And he built the First Baptist Church. Roger came in behind him, and a great man of wisdom. And he built the gym. He saw a vision that young people would want to come and participate and have fun, and a rallying point for people to share Jesus.
Ooh, that's good.
And then another great inspiring man was a banker by the name of Richard Hawkins. I was a little boy, and he had the Little Partners Roundup for the Northern Bank. And they would bring all the children in the community and give them a hot dog and some chips and ride the pony. While they were there, they would open a bank account, a savings account.
Yes.
So at one time, he dominated with 75% of all the new accounts in Clarksville because of his idea. And he inspired me, and through his, even though I was a young man, he was teaching me a
Okay.
lesson. I started the Court of Creativity, where I had all these children come to my private courtroom, didn't cost anything.
Okay.
And 26,000 have come through there through my courtroom.
That's a large
and
number.
I love to share. And I had an inspired moment when I saw the vision and I thought about Richard Hawkins. And even now, I'm trying to come up with ideas that my children could inspire others
right.
and go to a new level.
And I love how we are blessed to be able to give it back from where we have received in life. And
Amen.
those that have blessed us, it's a blessing that we can take that and we can give it back. Some of my greatest inspirations, I really have so many
Come
that
on.
it's hard to just
I
only
know.
name 3.
I know.
But I think of Miss Helene Waters. She was my grade school teacher, and she was so inspirational, inspiring. And if no one ever told me in life that I could do anything, it was Miss Helene Waters who said, you can do it. And I am grateful for her. Then my first job that I worked when I was a teenager, I worked at a library. And Mr. Omia G. Smith, he would take out the time every day. He was like a father to me. And he would not only talk about the Dewey Decimal System and how to shelve books. It was more than that. He taught me principle and value and integrity and what it's like to be honest and to tell the truth. And so he was a great man in my life. And then, of course, my mother, my father, my husband, Robert. There are so many to name, but I'm inspired by these because they all lived a life that, you know, they were good, hardworking people. They were honest people. They were people who cared about other people. And that's what we want to talk about today, is also kindness today.
Amen.
And when you talk about inspiration, let's talk about being kind. And what does it mean to be a human being?
Amen.
To say please and to say thank you.
Well, one of the
goes a long
signs
ways.
of a great person, they are going to be very polite. They're going to be
Yes.
very courteous.
Yes.
If you take on a posture of being rude or a bullier, it carries no respect. When you think about the most respected people in your life, they had an air of kindness about them.
Yes.
It's what attracts you to them. And when you have these other airs about you of arrogance, or you think you're better than others, or you're going to use people, it in fact pushes people away. One of the things that I've said at the Kennedy Law Firm, years and years of trying to build the law firm, was, are we putting out positive vibes?
That's right.
Are we putting out negative
That's
vibes?
right.
And someone said one time, we've been in all the Christmas parades. We were in the Thanksgiving parade. We were in the Veterans Parade, the river. And they said, Kevin, why do you spend all your resources, gather your people, and go and do these parades? What are you getting accomplished? Well, one of the things, we build enthusiasm.
Yes.
We build teamwork.
Yes.
And we love to share. We spend thousands of dollars on candy every year.
That's it.
And we share with children. And so I want them to experience something special. What is one of my challenges? Same thing I teach you, your children and mine, to be givers and not takers. We can all be takers, but it takes an inspired person. The Bible teaches us, give, and it shall be given to you. Pressed down, shaken together, and running over. I believe every word of that Bible, so I want to live my life by those biblical principles.
That's right. Make it count.
Make it count. I want my life to count for the King.
That's right.
And when you do that, you will have success. I've understood formulas of failure. I've understood days of success. I'd much rather ride in the sunshine of success than walk in the valley of failure.
And get back up and try again. Don't be afraid just because you fall. Everyone falls down. Doesn't mean that you're a loser. It doesn't mean that you're not successful because you've taken a fall. You've taken a fall because God has something greater in store for you. Maybe you've been trying at it for so long to try to be the best at this or to be the best at
Come
that.
on.
But if you would just learn to be content with where God has you
Yes.
and appreciate in life where He has placed you, the best is yet to come.
You
because
said it.
sometimes we're striving for things that God has not allowed. He has not ordered or opened that door, but we're so persistent. I've got to get there. I've got to do it
Yes.
this way. But God says we've got to do things His way.
Amen.
His way. He says He owns a cattle on 1,000 hills.
Yes.
If He can clothe the grass, if He can take care of His birds every day, then what more will He see
It
about
is
us?
so true.
He is
Well,
amazing.
I have a new lawyer, and we were talking about his career. I love to take young lawyers and talk about their career, try to mold them, make them, shape them. I can whip them with a chain and make them jailhouse mean. I'm not impressed. I never will be. Or I can take them and mold them and protect them very much like a mother hen protects her baby chicks.
But you had someone to do that.
Come
for you,
on.
just like I have.
It is. And one of the words I'm trying to share today, Treve, to the viewing audience, is we can move in the supernatural,
I love
not
it.
in the natural.
Let's move in the supernatural.
God, He is so powerful. And when
All-knowing.
we tap into His Holy Spirit, we can do things that have never been done. And everybody say, well, how did Treva get there? And I've seen Treva on the red carpet. Man, I even wonder sometimes with all the photos. I thought, good gracious, was I with Oprah Winfrey? Everybody's taking the pictures, wanting to get in line and shout, Treva, Treva. They say you arrived when they only have one name.
Oh, my
you
goodness.
arrived. But how did you do it? Only through God's grace.
Only through God's grace. Well, we're out of time, but we're coming back with more. Kevin,
Stay tuned.
this is an awesome show.
Thank you.
All right, tune in for more. It's the Treva and Kevin Show. We'll be right back.
Amen.
Pay attention.
Listen.
Jump in, Landon.
Excuse me, can I come in? Hi!
You must be able to see like what's going on.
Go to bed.
Come on. Hi, baby. Hi, baby. Come on. What are you?
God, boom that thing as hard as you can. Oh, you're okay. You're okay.
WUXP-TV. You've always been a hard worker and made your Social Security. Now you can't work because of a medical condition. Good news. But there's good news. You may qualify for disability benefits.
All right, welcome back. It's the Be Inspired Show. You know, I was inspired. What has made me so inspired about this show is because it's always echoing positivity.
Come on, I cannot accept the negative. I refuse to accept it. I reject it.
Yeah.
I heard one of the richest men in the nation say one time, his New Year's resolution, I refuse to be around negative people.
Mm-hmm.
He said that for he and his wife.
Yes.
And I understood it. I
That's
understand
right.
it today.
Because it'll get on you and you'll begin to wear it. And
Yes.
before long, it's stinking. You got to get that off of you.
Get rid of the
because
stinking
then
thinking.
everywhere you go, you now have that negative spirit.
Yes.
And it's easy for a person who's negative to want to attract themselves
Absolutely.
to a positive person. But instead of allowing them to pull on you, you have to have enough positivity to lead them
Amen.
to the positive light.
Yes.
Right?
Well, at the law firm, one of the things that we have is kind of unique at my law firm, and I saw it somewhere. I'm a master of taking another man's ideas and going to a new level. And one of those ideas, put out the positive quote of the day. So every day, we put in everybody's mailbox a positive quote.
I like that.
And so, you know, it was so much positivity. It's been about 8 or 10 years ago that the young lawyers, the interns, they're bouncing off the walls. Well, one of the lawyers, it was really getting on his nerves, so he started doing the negative quote of the day. I said, wait a minute, dude. We don't do
We
that
don't
here.
do that here.
Say it.
I love it. We don't do that here.
We're not going to do it here.
Yes.
So we said, don't do it again.
And you know what I love is that all of our guests that we've had, our inspiring guests, when they come onto our set, not only do they feed off of our energy, we feed off of theirs.
Yes.
And they're so excited about their projects, their music,
Amen.
their books, the things that they have been able to accomplish. And we celebrate that with every person who has come onto our set. Even
good.
giving a shout out to Zenith, the studio where
Yes.
we are today. Just giving a wonderful
Fabulous
appreciation
atmosphere.
to Scott Godsey
When
and
you
the great
walk
work
in the
that
door
they're
here,
doing.
is it
Yeah.
electricity bouncing
It
off?
is.
And you know, I've known that ever since we came. But one of the things that I've learned from being around the entertainment industry is this. When we meet our actors and we meet the actresses, when we meet the music producers and the executives
Behind the
of the
scenes.
movies and
That's
the
right.
CDs,
That's right.
one thing they all have in common, they are all positive
They
people.
are.
Because you can sit down and talk to them. You know, I know why she's an actress. I know why he's a singer. I know why they're on TV.
Okay.
It shouts with their presence.
That's right. Well, we've got to take another break, and we're going to come back with the close of our show. Man, this positive thing is
You can
catching
feel it.
on. I can feel it.
I know it. And I hope you feel it too through
Yeah.
that television broadcast.
All right, stay tuned.
Whoa! Don't do it. Don't do it. No. No. No! 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 Don't even think of no.
Where's Jaden at?
Jada, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing?
That's me. Fill your heart with love for someone else. We'll see. Oh! Oh! Oh!
Is Dad your favorite person? Mommy is. Story of my life.
It's on video.
Read me the book. Read me the book. Oh, that's good.
Oh my.
Hey, buddy. How you doing?
All right, I hear those sirens everywhere. That means it's time for the legal question corner time.
There you go. Don't
You know what?
it?
We've been doing legal question corner time ever since we started this show.
Yes, we've answered a lot of questions, and we love it. If you have a question, feel free to send it in, and we'll try to share it on the broadcast. One of the things that I've learned over the years, so many people are scared to ask a question. Well, I don't want to be embarrassed. It seems dumb.
But that's true.
Believe me,
Okay.
there's 1,000 other people that would like to know the
Really?
answer to that question if you'll just ask it so that we'll share for everybody's benefit.
Okay, so right now, car wrecks.
All right.
Every time I turn a commercial on, there's some lawyer talking about, a car wreck, I've had a few in my lifetime.
I have too.
So what do you do when you have a car wreck?
Well, here's one of the things, the first thing. Try to teach your family all the time to drive defensively. No car wreck is worth, the money you get out of is never worth the anguish, the pain, the aggravation, the loss of money.
Say that.
It's not worth it.
Okay.
And so, I've handled some really big cases, and none of them are worth the pain, the aggravation, and the agitation that it costs you. All that we try to do is largely try to compensate you. That's called compensatory damages for what your loss is. Now, when people talk and they say, well, this drunk driver ran into the back of me,
That's
then
right.
we talk about punitive damage. What does that mean? That means if they're drunk, knowingly, intentionally, maliciously drive their car and wreck in the back end of your car, and they were intoxicated, that's the proximate cause of your injuries, then someone is liable, someone is responsible, and you're entitled to compensatory damages. So one of the lessons I love to teach when I talk about car wrecks is when you have a car wreck, you don't have to admit liability. Try to get out, take some photos, document the scene where the accident.
Okay.
If there's witnesses, get their name, their address, their phone number so we can contact them again.
Yes.
And if you know it's clearly not your fault and there's a witness, you can say to them, you saw this guy run the red light, and they say yes. Well, you can even take your phone and tape record just a
Okay.
little bit.
Yes.
And then people, if you don't move on it real fast, people's memories fade.
That's true.
And then they get scared and say, oh, Lord, I don't want to be in a lawsuit. I don't want to take off work. I don't want to make a statement. I'm going to get in the car and leave. Well, the insurance company delights in that kind of behavior.
Yes.
Because that way, when someone is truly entitled to some benefits, they're denied.
Wow.
One of the things I'd love to share with the public is this. When you go into any big city, anywhere, the biggest buildings are owned by the insurance companies. Now, how did they achieve that goal? They paid very little on claims that were made. And you say, Kevin, can't we just stand on being fair? I'd love to do that, but the truth is they will not be fair with you. And so now it's a matter of intimidation. And you say, well, they wrecked my car. I really didn't get hurt. Well, an insurance company loves to hear
Yes,
that because
that's
then
right.
we only have the blue book value of your car, and it says 10. You say 10,000. My goodness, I owe 25. Well, 10 is all we're going to pay, and you're going to have to take up that loss with your insurance or your bank.
Yes.
And so we have what's known as gap insurance. Gap insurance is when you have a car and you owe more than what it's worth. You should take that policy when you buy.
Yes.
But let me make one more real key point. If you have a car wreck and you say, well, the lawyer's going to get a third, that's true. But you always end up more with a lawyer than without a lawyer.
That's what I've heard.
And if you don't have a lawyer,
Wow.
they're going to offer you some money for your car wreck, $25,000, $50,000. But your health insurance has paid all of that or
Wow.
more.
That's right.
So you get the check, you go cash it, you spend it. Then your insurance company comes back against you in a year and said, we want all that money back. Well, good gracious, I would have never settled for that if I'd known all this money I was going to get sued. Ignorance of the law is no excuse.
Yes.
And so Kevin Kennedy, the lawyer, is telling you today, get a lawyer if
a
that
lawyer.
comes. If your children are involved in a wreck, get a lawyer. Don't make any statements. Protect your family. Protect your home. Protect your rights.
Yes.
And so that's
And
the
if you
best
have any
advice.
questions, if you have, I mean, you get free legal advice
All the time.
You can contact your law firm, and that's something that's very convenient for people because people have a lot of questions. They don't know what to do or where to turn.
Absolutely.
Especially in the time of an accident because your adrenaline is running.
Yes.
Everything is just moving so quickly, and you're like, oh my gosh, what do I do? And it seems like people just don't know what to do when it comes to a car wreck.
And one of the things we see so much, Treva, it's going to surprise you. If someone's involved in a car wreck and you go to the hospital, you know what the first question the hospital asks you?
Do you have insurance?
Please, Treva.
Yes.
And then when you respond no, they check you
Yes.
and they call it treat and street.
Well, you know, this happened to me many years ago. I was a newlywed, so we didn't have a lot of money.
Yes, I hear
And
you.
I had wrecked the car. I was in a car accident, but I was okay. So the ambulance came and the workers, the first responders, I got into the ambulance, and before they even checked the pulse, they said, do you have any insurance? And I said, I don't have any insurance. And they said, well, how would you like to pay? I said, what?
Yes.
And do
Yes.
you know, I called my husband. I said, can you come pick me up? Because I
Yes.
can't afford $100 one way. That was like 26
Yes, and now
years ago.
the costs are astronomical. One of the other problems that we see as lawyers, you know, if you have no insurance, the bill is sky high
That's
through the
right.
roof. And the insurance companies come back and say, well, we're only going to pay a fraction of that. Well, they'll accept that and clear the account.
And that's
but
why
if you didn't have insurance, they want
Yes.
you to pay that until you file bankruptcy.
And we have to. I just wish and I pray that in our country, this beautiful country where we live, that we would make it more affordable for people
Absolutely.
to drive.
Well, the best advice
Yes.
is to get a lawyer. If my children are involved in a car wreck, get a lawyer immediately.
That's right.
Because they can wheel and deal and negotiate and try to hold those medical bills down.
and you may
try to
not
get
need
away.
it. It's like it's better to need it and not have it.
Come on, Treva.
Right?
You sound just like me.
Come on
Where did you
now.
learn all that
No,
law? Did you get a law degree?
I don't have a law degree, but
you
but
know a
it's
lot of law.
best. It's just best to need when you need one.
It's
To
true.
already have one.
Well,
And
being
it's-
you have been in business.
Yeah,
We
a long
do
time.
understand
And it's
about
even
that.
just the same as life insurance, having a will,
Yes.
having things like that in place. Experienced a major loss in my life. It was just a blessing to have those things in place. So it took away the anxiety and the
Yes.
things that you face, because when you're going through that, that's a tough time
Terrible
to have
time.
to think about, what do I do next? How do I feed my family? How do I provide? How do I, pay this bill? And so you can make it easier. So hire a lawyer, get a policy, do the things that you need to do so that you can,
Rest a little
rest
more comfortably.
comfortably.
We're out of time.
All right.
God bless y'all.
Thank you.